Hey, catch the Torah wave, folks. Welcome, everybody, to Genesis class live from Jerusalem with Rabbi Chaim Goldberg. Rabbi Goldberg had a little bit of a family emergency, so we're about 15 minutes late. He's just setting up his computer so he can share with us, so appreciate your patience. We are joined by many people from around the planet in the Zoom room as usual. We got our friends, the McConaugheys, Angela and Mike in the UK, our good friend Travis Cox down in Georgia, my friend Timothy Klein in the east coast of Canada. We're joined by Rosanna Peters in The Hague, Netherlands. We've got Jack with us, my friend Hans down in Paraguay, Bart, who's in upstate New York, I think Bart said. No, or am I mistaken? I'm mistaken that with Wendell's in upstate New York. Bart is in Belgium. Forgive me. Yes, we got Timothy, Angelica in the Lower Mainland, Vancouver area, with her friend Jenilyn, who's also in Vancouver area. We got Italo down in Lima, Peru. Paul Garcia down in San Antonio, Texas way. We're joined by Nicola Miriam, who's in Germany, and Rabbi Goldberg as well, of course. It's always a joy to get to meet new people and connect, because if you ever have a nagging question, it's always nice to bounce it off somebody, and somebody will know somebody who will know something and be able to share Torah truth with you. But most importantly, we never try to stretch beyond what we in fact know. And we're so thankful that the nation of Israel is willing to share the light of Torah. And so we're glad that Rabbi Goldberg continues to share Torah with us. So, Rabbi Goldberg, are you ready to roll?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good to see you all. As you can see, it's not a normal place, but everything is fine. Can you hear me fine? Everything is fine.
Yeah, we're reading you 5 by 5, Rabbi.
Excellent. So good to see you all. I'm sorry for my lateness. Few new people here, and it's also great to see all of you. How come you can't see me anymore? Okay. Just a moment. Oh, come on. I'm sorry. Oh, here it is. Don't know why what happened. Okay, so fair enough. Let's start. Let's learn. So first of all, good evening, everybody. Good evening, all.
Is everything okay with your son, Rabbi?
It will be. It will be.
Baruch Hashem.
Yes, excellent. Yes, I can't complain. Let's say it like that. Oh, now I can see you also, all of you. Now we have also few new people from Germany, right?
We've got Nicola Sarah Miriam with us. She's new in Germany. She did the personal pledge a couple of weeks ago. She had told me. Yes. And of course, who else have we got? We got my
Jenilyn.
Jenilyn also is from Germany, right?
No, Jenilyn's from Vancouver area. She's from Burnaby. But my friend Rosanna Peters, who's she joined last week, she's in The Hague, Netherlands.
Fair enough. Rosanna, good to see you. I'm sorry for all of the things that happened there. Okay, fine.
Hello.
Let's start. We are already in such a late
time.
Let's start with something. I will start first of all with last week we spoke at the end of the lesson about trying to take responsibility and to take the footsteps of Abraham with spreading the word around, and we are preparing good stuff for that. And hopefully in this week, at the end of this week, beginning of next week, we will start also to work or to show you, all of you, to join you together with those things. You gave us a lot of good ideas, great ideas, excellent ideas.
It was nice to see Lee and Sarah as well.
They're going to be with us now. From now on, they're going to be with us. Some of the time, they're going to also to be in the class. Some of the times, they're going to do other things. I think you also spoke with Lee about doing a lesson with him, right?
Doing a broadcast, yeah, but he hasn't got back to me yet, Rabbi. Maybe he doesn't like the topic. I think it's a very important topic, but it was an idea I threw out. I find if I don't suggest an idea, sometimes, yeah.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. Give him time to adjust the situation. Suddenly, he's also starting to be in charge and being part of the people who is taking responsibility also in the Noahide world movement here in Israel.
Excellent.
But we have more and more people like that. So it's also
Well,
it's
Rabbi
great.
Ingber may be doing a broadcast later today as well. Carmi Ingber from Atlanta, Georgia, he may be doing a broadcast on the Noahide World Center with the Natif. Yeah.
Yes, I know that. We also know that, and this is also very good. So let's let's jump inside and let's learn a bit also from the Bible, not only to speak about things. The most important point I want to mention, this is why I started with this, is that we are going to have also relationship. Okay, I'm going to give an opportunity for those who want a relationship and connection that is giving the opportunity of gaining more, not only with knowledge of the Bible, but also with the experience, knowledge, and understanding of how to spread over the ideas of the Noachites. I think I said it more than once, but I think that this is an opportunity of bringing the world to a better stage.
For sure.
So let's do it. Okay. We came to chapter 19. Until now, we saw about Abraham. And now in chapter 19, we're going to meet the story, the famous story of Sodom and Gomorrah. I must start with the end of the story, okay? The end of the story is, this will help us to understand the story itself. The end of the story is something really a bit amazing, okay? This is where we have, I need you to for a moment, and look, from verse number 30 to
the end?
Okay, till the end.
Okay, scroll back up to 30 and I'll start reading it.
And Lot went.
Okay, 30. And Lot went up from Zoar, and he dwelt in the mountain, and his 2 daughters were with him, for he was afraid to dwell in Zoar. So he dwelt in a cave, he and his 2 daughters. And the elder said to the younger, Our father is old, and there is no man on the earth to come upon us, as is the custom of all the earth. Come, let us give our father wine to drink, and let us lie with him, and let us bring to life seed from our father. And they gave their father wine to drink on that night, and the elder came and lay with her father, and he did not know of her lying down or of her rising up. And it came to pass on the morrow that the elder said to the younger, Behold, last night I lay with my father. Let us give him wine to drink tonight too, and come, lie with him, and let us bring to life seed from our father. So they gave their father drink on that night also, and the younger arose and lay with him, and he did not know of her lying down or of her rising up. And Lot's 2 daughters conceived from their father, and the elder bore a son, and she named him Moab. He is the father of Moab until this day. And the younger, she too bore a son, and she named him Ben-Ami. He is the father of the children of Ammon until this day.
So we have here an interesting story that the leftovers from Sodom and Gomorrah, there are 3 people who leftovers, who are the only 3 people who left over from the Sodom and Gomorrah. And we have here some sort of a very weird story where we
Incestuous, yeah.
That they're doing, I don't remember how exactly you call it in
incest.
How did you call it?
Incest.
What we call in Hebrew yibum. Is it the same thing? You know what yibum is? When someone is, I will find it here.
Having relations with a family member.
Mamzer. Are you looking for the word mamzer?
Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure that I know the word. Okay, let me see.
But it's definitely one of the Noahide prohibitions, yes?
It's not so simple to say that. Okay, it is not so simple to say that. Let's see. Oh, okay. If you can see, please read verses number 5 and 6.
If brothers reside together and one of them dies having no son, the dead man's wife shall not marry an outsider. Rather, her husband's brother shall be intimate with her, making her a wife for himself, thus performing the obligation of a husband's brother with her. And it will be that the eldest brother who performs the Levirate marriage, if she can bear, will succeed in the name of his deceased brother, so that the deceased brother's name, shall not be obliterated from Israel.
So we have this, in Hebrew, we call this Hibum, okay? It's something that we're trying to fulfill, that they won't, as it says at the end, okay, that the name of this person won't
be obliterated,
obliterated from the Israel dynasty, okay, from the Israel family. And this is basically what is happening here with Lot and his daughters. Now, before we got the Torah, before we had the Torah, this thing that here is only being with two brothers in those days before the Torah could have been with everyone from the family who stayed from whatever was left over. I will call it like that. So we have here a very interesting story. I'm jumping back to Genesis, okay? We're having here a very interesting story that is not prohibited 100%. I will call it like that. It's not so clear, but it's not prohibited. If we're looking on the situation where they thought that no one is left from Sodom and Gomorrah except for their father, and they wanted to continue something from Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay? This is what I must start with the end of the story, so we will be able to realize what is happening here. The two girls saw that if they won't continue from their father something, the next generation, so Sodom and Gomorrah will be wiped over, and nothing in the memory of the history here of this world will leave something from Sodom and Gomorrah. And they did this thing. Rashi is saying another very interesting point. Let me show Rashi for a moment. How do you put Rashi here? It is. I'm sorry, I'm not at home, so it's a bit more complicated. Things here. Rashi is saying like that. First of all, look here, okay? In verse number 31, please read this part. And there is no man.
And there's no man on the earth. They thought that the entire world had been destroyed as in the generation of the flood.
So they said to themselves something like, something here in this world very important. Sodom and Gomorrah, it's not here yet anymore, and we need to continue on to the destiny of the world, to the people of the world. And now, please read this. So there's something here that we're saying that it's important that will happen. Let me say this like that. We know that from Moav, in Hebrew, by the way, the word Moav is from the father. Av is father, Moav is Me'av, okay? But we know that the grandmother of David, King David, came from Moav. And then who is continuing the dynasty of the Messiah, of King David Messiah? The next one is Solomon, okay? And Solomon is continuing on with Rechavam. But who is the mother of Rechavam? King Solomon had 1,000 women, okay, that he had relations with. But there is only one who continued his dynasty. And the only one who continued this dynasty was the son of Naamah Ammonit. Okay, Naamah is a name that we already know. Ammonit, that came also from, as it's written down here, the name is Ben Ami, okay, Ammonit, Ammon. So in this complicated story, we find that the dynasty of the Messiah is coming. I'm not starting from the end of the story by mistake. I want that we will understand what is happening here. We have here a chapter that we're going to demolish. God is going to turn over completely Sodom and Gomorrah. But there's something there in Sodom and Gomorrah that is related to the Messiah time. Till today, we are waiting to the son of King David, part of his dynasty, that will come here. Just a moment, someone came here to see my son. כן, שלום לך. בסדר, אתה הרופא? מה אתה?
כן.
שלום וברכה.
באתי לקחת לו בדיקה, שמעתי היה לו חום.
כן. תראה לי רגע, יש לך תרופות שלו? זה לא שלו.
זה לא תרופות, זה בחור של הבדיקות, בדיקות דם.
אוקיי.
הוא לקח אותו בדיקות דם, ולא חום.
אוקיי.
מה נשמע?
הוא לא הכי רגוע, טיפ חום, גם עכשיו יש לו קצת חום. אני פשוט...
Looks like we got a freeze. Rabbi Goldberg's frozen. I don't know if he's paused it, but yeah, his son is in the hospital, and that's why we were a little late, folks. He got called and had to go to the hospital, and that's why he's doing the broadcast. So I think he's just chatting with a doctor now. But he's frozen, so let's just give him some, let's be patient and give him a little bit of time, and then we'll try and continue from there. So, yeah, he's talking about the children of Ammon and the lineage of the Mashiach coming through out of that descendant, so there's a key point I think he wants to bring home, and yeah. Oh, he must have stopped sharing his screen.
You know, what I find interesting as I go through, and like this story, it happens in a cave. Have you thought about all of the different stories and all of the different righteous things that come out of people when they go into caves? Like the time when
It's true, but let's put this aside for a moment.
No, we got you back, Rabbi.
Let's put this aside for a moment. Let's go to the main point, and then we can speak. Yes, you can hear me? Can you hear me all?
Yes, now we have you perfectly, yeah.
Okay, so I'm saying like that. I'm saying we have something in Sodom and Gomorrah. On one side, we see that God is going to wipe them off. On the other side, the seed of the Messiah that is coming from the dynasty of two sides of this story. It's not a coincidence, I'll say it like that. There's something there in Sodom and Gomorrah. I will put my internet on something else. Just a moment. Let me put it on my phone so you won't lose me again. I'm sorry for the inconvenience of this week learning. Hopefully. סדרת? צריך אבל לתת לו לאכול, לא? Okay, now you can hear me, people?
Yep, we can hear you just fine, Rabbi.
Excellent. Okay, so I took the internet from somewhere else. So we have, again, I'm just concluding. On one side, we have Sodom and Gomorrah that God is going to wipe them off, and we saw already last week how Abraham is praying for them, and everything else, everything is fine. On the other side, we see that the seeds.
Oh, you're locked up again, Rabbi.
From Sodom and Gomorrah. That the seed of the Messiah is coming from Sodom and Gomorrah. So we realize that Sodom and Gomorrah, and we know already in chapter 13. Let's go to chapter 13 for a moment. In chapter 13, we have a verse that is saying that Sodom and Gomorrah were a place where we need to read it inside. When Lot is deciding to go to Sodom and Gomorrah, when he's separated himself from Abraham. Please read verse number 10.
You're not sharing the screen with me.
Sorry. Let me share the screen for a moment. Just a moment. תודה רבה. No. Everything to the... Okay.
You're frozen again. Yeah, sorry, Rabbi, you're locked up. I don't know if you can hear me, but yeah, you're locked up, and yeah, it could be just the way the bandwidth in the hospital's functioning. I know they have a lot of steel wall or steel inside the walls, and the concrete can restrict the bandwidth, and it looks like he's trying to use his phone to broadcast the signal, which is never a good mix with concrete. Can you hear us, Rabbi?
It is. Now, can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, so let me try to that you will see me also. I'm sorry for all of the problems of today. Okay. So please, Dan, you can share also the screen. Please go, if it's okay. I want you to go for a moment to chapter 13 in verse number 10. Okay, can you jump to this thing? Chapter 13, verse number 10.
Genesis chapter 13. Did you want the Rashi?
No. I want the verse itself.
The verse itself. Okay, I can't show it to the class and to the broadcast stream at the same time. I'm showing it to the broadcast stream. It says, "And Lot raised his eyes, and he saw the entire plain of Jordan, and it was entirely watered before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as you come to Zoar."
Like the garden of the Lord.
Right.
What is the garden of the Lord? Garden of the Lord is the what we call the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Right. So Sodom and Gomorrah, in some sort of the points, it's related to the Garden of Eden. This is how it's written down here. So Sodom and Gomorrah, it's a place where they have everything there. This is what's written down here in chapter 13, verse number 10.
Well, you've got that entire Rift Valley as it goes up through the whole Jordan River. It's a Rift Valley that hooks up with a rift. Like I've studied geology and the fault lines in that region.
Yeah, you're right. But we have today, especially in the place of what we call in the place of the Dead Sea. Okay, it's called the Dead Sea because of what God did to this place.
Right.
And before he did this to this place, it was the Garden of Eden there. But what is the main problem, Sodom and Gomorrah? They themselves, who are living there, they in a stage of the Garden of Eden. They came to the stage where I will call it the Messiah is there already for them. They're in a place or in a stage in life that they have everything. They don't need anything. And the only big problem of them is that they decided not to share it with anybody else. Now listen good to what I'm going to say. If someone is giving a tzedakah is to things that you have with yourself. And if someone is giving a tzedakah to others, he is basically saying that we're not in a situation where the Messiah came already, because not everybody here have fully everything in his life today, I said it more than once also, we have a lot of people that unfortunately are starving for death in
Sad.
in all sorts of places of the world, especially in the third places, okay, the third countries.
Third world
what we
countries,
call
yeah.
it. Yes. So we have, and if we will start to share between us the food, the leftovers that we have, so nobody will starve to death. But this is something that we need to be in a stage that we are willing to give, not only to receive. We spoke about this a lot of times. Sodom and Gomorrah are saying to themselves, we in a stage of the end of the world for us. But we are not going, we're going to have laws in Sodom and Gomorrah that we are not allowing any poor person to come to us and to get money. I think I said it once.
Yes, you did. You explained, yeah, how they their practices, yeah.
For example, I will remind one of them is everyone when a poor person came to Sodom and Gomorrah, so everyone gave him a coin of Zahav. No, how do you say Zahav in English? Everyone gave him a coin of you have the medley, the main medley, it's from gold. Everyone gave him a coin of a gold, but on the coin of the gold there was also the name of the person who gave it. For example, if for example, if I gave it, so my name is Chaim, so he took a coin with the name Chaim. Okay, if Jack gave it, so it was a coin with the name Jack. Now, when the person wanted to buy food to eat, nobody was allowing him.
Yeah, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. It was non-legal tender. They weren't allowed to use it. Yeah.
Exactly. And when he died, because he starved there, so he wanted to go out to other places. So then it didn't let him to go out. So when he died there, everybody went and took back their own coins. So we have a situation where they themselves, in a selfish way, I will call it like that, in the most selfish situation, felt that they are already in the time of the Messiah. And they didn't want to share this with the rest of the world. And because of that, God said, I'm going to destroy them. I'm going to bring them to a situation where they're going to, it's not going to be there anymore in this world. But there is the leftovers. And the leftovers is Lot and his two daughters, that both of them or three of them together are building up nations outside, listen good, outside from Abraham dynasty. It's not going to be from Abraham, Isaac, or Jacob. And it's also going to help to bring the Messiah, because the Messiah is not related only to the Hebrew nation.
It goes back to Terah, doesn't it?
It's also, I didn't hear you, just a moment. It's not only going from the Hebrew nation, the Messiah, from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's also coming from outside of the Hebrew nation. It's related to all of the worlds. You with me? I was clear enough?
Yes, yes.
What's happening here?
Now, but Lot was Abraham's relative, right? Through his brother, right? So
exactly.
It still was in the same family, right? Under Terah?
Ken, yes, you're saying right. It's under Terah, it's true. But let's not forget that Lot, and it says also, if you will read, can you hear me, or there's a lot of noise here?
We're hearing a bit of background noise, but we can hear you.
We have... ככה בסדר גמור, תודה. אני האבא שלו. אמן, אמן.
אתה רוצה משהו? אמבו מג'ד. גם בבוקר אנחנו שנינו.
מצוין, תודה רבה לכם.
הכי גבוהים במחלקה.
זה אני רואה. Okay. So you're right that Lot also came from Terach, and it's also related with Eber. But if you will read the verse in chapter 13, two verses before chapter 10,
Abraham said to Lot, please let there be no quarrel between me and between you and between my herdsmen and between your herdsmen, for we are kinsmen.
So he's saying there we are some sort of relation one with each other. We are like brothers. On the other side, we are only similar one to each other, because I'm going to continue on, and you, Lot, is not going to continue on. So someone who is similar to someone else, but he is not the someone else, is basically saying that he is different than Abraham. So it's true that he's related a bit to the dynasty of Terach, but it is still something from outside the main dynasty of Terach, who will continue on to the Messiah time, to King David. Even though we still need that for the dynasty of King David, we need people from outside, from Israel, because it's not, the Messiah is not only the Israeli part, it's also related with the rest of the world.
Right.
So we're starting to realize that this chapter that is explaining to us what is happening between Sodom and Gomorrah is basically the chapter that is putting the foundation of the Messiah. It's related to the Garden of Eden, and from there we have the seeds of the Messiah. This will explain to us also what happened, that if you will read in the beginning of chapter 19, on one side,
okay, it says the two angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom, and Lot saw and rose toward them, and he prostrated himself on his face to the ground. And he said, behold, now my lords, please turn to your servant's house and stay overnight and wash your feet, and you shall arise early and go on your way. And they said, no, but we will stay overnight in the street.
First of all, we see that Lot is having something interesting that he got already, רק שתדעי שאת מפריעה פה לאנשים מכל העולם. That Lot is doing something that he learned in Abraham, okay? He's asking them to come, to inviting them to be his guests. So this is something that is related with Abraham. The Sodom and Gomorrah didn't do that. We can see this in Yechezkel. Yechezkel is the place, is the prophet that is explaining that Sodom and Gomorrah didn't accepted any guests, and we understand that today. On the other side, so he is accepting guests. If you will continue on, we see something really weird. Please continue on with the verses a bit more.
And he urged them strongly, and they turned into him and came into his house, and he made them a feast, and he baked unleavened cakes, and they ate. When they had not yet retired, and the people of the city, the people of Sodom, surrounded the house, both young and old, the entire populace from every end of the city. And they called to Lot and said to him, where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us, let us be intimate with them. And Lot came out.
Just a moment. I know what, a bit more, and then I will say a few words. Yes.
Okay. And Lot came out to them to the entrance, and he shut the door behind him. And he said, my brethren, please do not do evil. Behold, now I have two daughters who were not intimate with a man, and I will bring them out to you, and do to them as you see fit. Only to these men do nothing, because they have come under the shadow of my roof.
Okay, so let's stop here. So we have a few things. First of all, we see that Lot is a bit, I will say, confused. Okay, on one side, he doesn't want to give the people that he's hosting, the angels,
visitors,
the visitors, that the people of the town will harm them. On the other side, he is willing to give his daughters. Something there is a bit not on the right track, I will call it like that. Another thing that we see, that in Sodom and Gomorrah, because they are feeling that they are in the end time, okay, the end road, I will call it like that, of their culture, they're already in the Messiah time. Therefore, they don't need to bring any more next generation, another kids. They don't need to bring any more kids to this world, but they still have some sort of sexual desire. So they're using this sexual desire, one to each other and the same to the similar side of themselves, just to joy. not to bring any fruitful or any multiply things.
Oh, you froze up again, Rabbi. Oh, you're moving now. Go ahead.
So we're starting to realize what is happening with the Sodom and Gomorrah people and why they don't want, or how come they want to do this thing to those angels and they don't look, or they're doing those things of Sodom and Gomorrah behavior on one side. There's another very interesting hint in the situation there, in the things that you read. He is giving them not bread, he's giving them matzot, right? This is what's written down. He's giving them matzot and wine, like it's Passover. And we will see in the continue of the, I don't have the script in front of me now because of the situation, but in the continuous we see that early in the morning, they are rushing him out, just like what happened in Egypt on the time of Passover. And why do we have on the same thing of Passover with the wine, with the matzot, and with the rushing him out? Just the same things that happened in Passover with the Hebrew nation, because it's something that is related to the Messiah time that is taking the world to the next step. It's similar to things that will happen to the Hebrew nation that are going to the next step and taking the world to the next step. Again, those are things that are happening later on in the next book, okay, of Exodus. We will see it in the Hebrew nation. And now we see it in the people that are not from the Hebrew nation, okay, Lot and his daughters, that it's very similar because they're also part of the Messiah of this world, to bring the world to the next step. More or less, even though with all of the things that we had here that bothered us, we managed to realize what is really happening in this chapter on Sodom and Gomorrah. And it's hiding inside a very high level understanding of the Messiah in this world.
Interesting.
Questions till now. I'm sorry for the situation that.
Well, yeah, Rabbi, I wanted to ask. I mean, in my experience, from what I understand, there's often a clash between task-oriented people and people-oriented people, and there has to be a balance. If Hashem wants to do a task and he appoints somebody for a task, a lot of people aren't going to like it and work with it. And when it comes to this question, obviously, I don't think that the people of Sodom and Gomorrah liked having those people there. And worse is what they intended. But more than that, I'm sure they didn't like their city being destroyed. And yeah, so as far as a question, have you ever experienced anything where task-oriented people and people-oriented people have a clash of ideals? I find, yeah, when you want to get a certain job done, sometimes people don't want to let it get done and they work against it and they don't realize they're actually working against it. But it's only because they're focused on everybody's feelings. I think if you were worried about what everybody thought about you, most people would be frozen and do nothing. In other words, some people are bold to do things that need to get done to get to the other side of an event, where others just don't want it to happen. They don't want things to change.
I think you said right things. I'm not saying that it's a wrong understanding. I agree with you. The only point I want to maybe to raise up here, it's the things that you're saying are good, and they're also describing things that is being written down, or the scripture can teach us. Okay, the words of God that is written down can teach us, and it's true. I want one of the things that I'm trying very much to emphasize when we are learning those chapters of Genesis is to teach us for our generation. And let me explain for a moment something that is a bit similar with our generation today. We know that in nowadays the politically correct, I will call it like that, of the progressive way of this world, is that people are being held as normal if they want to have um, a family with one side, both of them are men or both of them are women. And it's reminding us a bit what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, we need to realize that always when a culture is coming to the stage of the end of the culture, where they feel that they don't have any more what to give to this world, this is where they don't feel that they need to bring the next generation. And then, but they still have, everybody, some sort of a sexual desire. So they're using it for the selfish side and not for bringing up the next generation. And this is what we see in Sodom and Gomorrah, where they were in a place that is defined in the scripture, in the Bible, as the Garden of Eden. So they felt that they're already in the time of the Messiah already. Okay? They're already in the time that the Messiah is here and everything is fine. And this is why they acted in this way on one side. And it's a bit similar to the stage that we have today. It's not the only time, okay? If you will go backwards to the time of the ancient Rome or the ancient Greece, when they finished to give to the world what they had to give to the world, they also came to the stages where they gave permission in a normal stage for those sexual behavior. And when we're realizing this situation, we're starting to realize or to understand what is happening today. And this is why I'm all the time saying that those who are sitting in those classes with us, it's not only with me, okay? It's Rabbi Goldberg, it's the people who are going to the Noahide, we have it in other languages and everything else. People who are sitting all over the world with those things. Those are the people who have the sensitive understanding that the culture, okay, the old culture that we have here in this world is in a stage that the end side of the culture. And this is why we see all sorts of ideas that
something's got to happen. Change has got to happen.
Exactly. And who is going to carry the change? Those who understand that we are in the next step. And there are those, it's not new, okay? The
human
sexual behavior
yeah.
of men with men to bring up a family, it's something that we remember from the old Romans when they finished the end of the period of time. So it's not something new. We see this also in Sodom and Gomorrah. And now we see it again. Why do we see it again? It's because people are desperate from what's happening in this world, because people think or feel that it's the end of this world. And so when God is speaking with us in His words in the Bible, the Hebrew Bible, we need to see what is reflecting us and how it's speaking to us in our days.
Rabbi,
Yes.
it is. We know that it's tied to the wine that they gave to Lot, and can we tie? Is that tied to maybe the same type of transgression that happened to Noah, which was tied to the wine? And can it be tied to the verse in Genesis chapter 50, verse 20, where Joseph says, although you intended me harm, Elohim intended it for good in order to accomplish. It is clear as this day, keeping alive a people that is numerous. Is there a message in there showing that from the bad that good comes?
Okay, so there are two points that you mentioned here, and you're more than right. First of all, wine. The word wine, by the way, think about this for a moment. There is a dictionary. It's a very thick one, okay? It's a very thick one. There is a dictionary in England, in the United States, okay? A red big dictionary. I saw it, I saw it. That there are few words that came from the Hebrew language to the English language. When I'm saying few words, more than 20,000 words, okay? I will give two examples. One example is the word evil. Evil is something bad, and it's written down the third book of the Hebrew Bible. The word avel, evil, is something bad, but it's already written down in Hebrew, the same word. And also,
Oh, you froze again, Rabbi. Oh, give him a second, folks. I think it's just, like I say, the way his cell phone's buffering in the locale he's at.
can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the word wine and the word is coming from the word yayin in Hebrew. The value of the word wine is the value of the word secret. And we all know that when you drink wine, all the secrets going out. I will call it like that. The wine is the inside of ourselves. Now, each one and one of us have something, I will call it, of the Messiah inside him. It's a seed of a Messiah, each one of us. And what happened there in Lot, and also before that with the Noah, is that they wanted to take out the most inner deep inside of them, of the Messiah side. With Lot and his daughters, it went out after a lot of generations. And this is why we have the wine. And the second point that you mentioned, and I'm showing this a lot of times, we have the Ramchal, never mind now the names and everything else. I have here the watch. Remember this watch? Let me see if you can see my watch. Just a moment where it is. Here it is. Here's the watch. Can you see the watch?
A little bit. There you go.
Okay.
It looks like a Submariner.
Yes. Now each watch that we have today now, this you can't see me, you can't hear me again.
Yeah, no, we can hear you fine, Rabbi.
Hear me again?
Nope, you're there still. We got you.
Oh, okay. Each watch is very exact with the time. But let's not forget that there are inside the watch a lot of circles that are going in the other way of the watch. Some of them are going, the mechanism, some of them are going in the way of the watch, and some of them are going just the opposite way of the watch. And only all of them together is bringing the right timing that the watch will show the right timing. And this is exactly the verses that you read to us, Travis, from the end of the Genesis book, what we read yesterday. At the end of the days, okay, God is taking all of things that people did, and he's showing how everything is under his control.
The whole point,
But this is not allowing us, but from the beginning, God is saying to us, be careful and do the good things. Don't do the bad things. God have a lot of other ways to bring the bad to this world. Snakes, scorpions, whatever it is. You don't participate with the bad side of the world. This is what God is saying to us. And if you will, I will punish you. This is what God's saying to us. But God is using everything in this world to bring the Messiah. So at the end of the days, we'll see that everything was for good. Those are the 2 points that you said.
Dear Rabbi, I have a little question. Yes. About Lot's wife, the mother of Lot's daughters. Where is she from? Is she from Gomorrah, from Sodom and Gomorrah? What's her genealogy? Where is she coming from?
No. She was also a bit related with the Hebrew people. She was also in Egypt. She's already for a long time with Lot from the beginning. But when she came to, what a noise here. But when she came to
Sodom
and Gomorrah, okay, when she came to those places, so one of the things that she had, she adopted a lot of their bad behavior. And one of the things that she said is when Lot gave them food, she was against it. And when he asked also to give them a bit of salt, she said to him, also this bad habit you're going to bring inside to the Sodom and Gomorrah. And because of that, her punishment was that she became a rock of salt. Okay, but I didn't want to say to this story of in Sodom and Gomorrah. It's not the main aim of the chapter. We can learn from this a lot of things, but it's a different points. Different points. Okay. I'm sorry for the noise of today and what everything is happening.
That's
here.
okay, Rabbi. It means so much to us that you actually do take the time to actually put on a class for us. And we're getting Torah as it was intended to be shared from Jerusalem, and that means so much to us. And we just pray that your son is okay and everything is all right there. And we're thankful.
Hopefully he will be okay. Today they managed to adjust exactly, or to define what exactly he has, so everything is fine. What else is again? I'm returning back to the things that I said in the beginning. We got a lot of ideas from the things that you said to us, and you also sent us a bit of messages after that. And I want to thank you all for doing those things. And we are organizing everything, so we will be able to start at the end of this week, beginning of next week, one of those times, hopefully before the list.
Oh, you froze again. You're in and out with the cell phone. It's not as reliable. It's definitely easier to work with for broadcasting. Cameras are clear, but they get Oh, there you're back, Rabbi.
Okay, so I'm saying that hopefully before the lesson of next week, hopefully we'll be able to start. And then it's a lot of responsibility, because some of the people here will be able to take the knowledge as we're going to give and to work and to do things in the German language, in other languages that we have here. Okay.
Oh,
and
sounds exciting.
Hopefully we will be able to change the world.
Amen. Yes, Rabbi. Yeah. Well, if you're there, please, if you chat with Lee, please let him know to get back to me in one way or another. I mean, if he doesn't want to do it, that's fine. But if he has different ideas, I'm flexible. The whole idea is to keep growing, and hopefully we can. So are we done for today, Rabbi?
Yes, I think so. So for today, we're done. And next week, hopefully, I won't be at the hospital. I will be at home. It will be more stable, and everything will be fine.
All right, so tentative, we're on for next week. Folks, does anybody else have any questions for Rabbi before we wrap it up? I think Karen's waving her hand, or Paul's waving his hand.
Rabbi, I hope you do good. You and your son have a speedy recovery. May Hashem bless you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
I wanted to ask about the Kedusha that was in the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Is this the reason that Lot was taken out of Sodom and Gomorrah? Because there was a spark there, just like when the people went into Mitzrayim to retrieve these sparks of Kedusha?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. And the wine itself, was it not a miracle? Because there's no way that Lot would be carrying wine, escaping for his life. There was wine already in the cave.
Yes, we showed this in Rashi, that there was a wine there in the cave. The miracle was that someone brought it to the cave for building up two nations that will continue on, or the seeds of the Messiah.
Very good. Blessings to you, Rabbi. We need you and we love you.
Thank you very much. Those who are blessing us will be blessed. This is what's written down, no? So,
Amen.
See you all. Thank you very much.
All right. Have a wonderful week, folks, and we'll catch you back next week. Till then, have a great week, everybody. Bye for now.